House on the campus of Avila University for tonight's basketball game between a couple of former Heart of America conference rivals as Avila welcomes Central Methodist University. Joe Van Amberg, Jacob Kruckenberg here. And Jacob, big game tonight. Avila trying to win their first game of the season. Central Methodist already a hot start at 2-0, trying to win their third straight game. You got a good one here tonight.
I think it'll be a good game like you just mentioned. Looking at the Central Methodist University Eagles, they're averaging 100 points per game. They're shooting over 50% from the field. They got the ideal 33% from the three-point range, 20 assists per game, 58 rebounds per game. So they attack the glass, they attack the boards. I think it'll be a good game by the time it all shapes up. Looking at the other half of the court, you know, Avila's 74 points per game, not where they'd like to be, but their defense is one of their main priorities this year so far. They're shooting 44% from the field, 33 from beyond the arc, and at the line, they're under 60%. They're going to want to shape that up moving forward.
Yeah, and kind of looking at some of the stats for Avila coming into this one too. Mentioned below 60% from the line. One of the guys struggling right now is a guy that usually shoots well from the charity stripe. Probably going to improve that. Dante Simpson, maybe not off to quite the start that he wants to, but I'd expect we're going to see a lot of improvement from him just by his track record from previous years.
Absolutely. From the line, he's shooting 44%. He is 4 for 9 from the line. So not a huge sample size, but still not characteristic of him. On my notes I got for him, he's got 11 points per game. He's got 37 minutes per game, 14 assists all season, and he's right around 40 and 40 when it comes to three-point range as well as field goal. But the main key about him is he's a floor general when he is playing. When he's on the court, he takes control of his team and makes sure that everybody's on the same page. People are cutting when they need to, setting screens, back doors usually open when he drives. He's a fun player to watch.
He is a fun player to watch and a lot of experience for this Avila basketball team coming into this game. Would really like to get a win. Jacob, we were kind of alluding to this last time we saw them. It was a tough outing against Missouri Valley, but a chance now to beat a team that they beat last year on the road, so you got a lot of the same guys back. Can they do it here now at home and get that first win of the season? That's the question tonight.
Absolutely right. You hit it right on the head. There's a lot of turnover from last season to this season, a lot of returners for the Eagles, which means they know the formula they had to use last year to beat them, but also CMU, they're like, hey, you came into our house and you beat us. We're going to give you a little bit of taste of your own medicine. So we're just going to have to sit back and watch and see how this one pans out.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. We're going to have that for you here at the top of the hour here on AvilaAthletics.com and the KCAC Digital Network. Joe Van Amberg and Jacob Kruckenberg will step aside here, and we'll be back for the national anthem, opening prayer, and the starting lineups after these words. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Mabee Fieldhouse as we get ready for the starting lineups. We will start out with the prayer, the national anthem, and then meet the starters for both teams coming up here. We will step aside and let you all listen in.
Good evening, everyone, and once again, welcome to Mabee Fieldhouse on the campus of Avila University for tonight's men's basketball contest, featuring the Central Methodist Eagles and your Avila Eagles. At this time, we ask you to please rise if you are able and join us in an opening invocation, and then remain standing for the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Strong and faithful God, we ask you to bless and watch over these athletes as we come together for today's contest. Keep them safe from injury and harm. Instill in them respect for each other and reward them for their perseverance. Lead us all to the rewards of your kingdom, where you live and reign forever and ever. Amen. Please remain standing for the playing of the national anthem. And now let's meet the starters for tonight's contest. First, for Central Methodist. In numerical order, introducing first, a 6'4" senior from Norcross, Georgia, number 3, Tim Cameron. A 6'5" sophomore from Belleville, Illinois, number 11, Isaiah May. A 6'3" sophomore from London, England, number 20, Jonathan Brown. A 6'6" senior from Queens, New York, number 23, Fodi Camara. A 6'8" freshman from London, England, number 24, Thomas Soluru. The Eagles are coached by Jeff Sherman. He's assisted by Matt Sherman and Mark Mueller. And now, let's meet the starters for your Avila Eagles. Introducing first, a 6'4" junior from Kansas City, Missouri, number 22, Tremaine Banks. A 6' junior from Blue Springs, Missouri, number 23, Tyree King. A 6'6" junior from Snellville, Georgia, number 5, Eric Smith Jr. A 6' junior from Union City, Tennessee, number 11, Dante Simpson. A 6'1" senior from Springfield, Kansas, number 1, Trey Heinrich Schwager. The Eagles are led by head coach Bill Sloan in his 6th season. He is assisted by Taj Downs, Darian Miner, and Josh King. The athletic trainer for the Eagles is Gary Atito.
And there you have it, the starting lineups for both these teams. And Jacob, should be a fun night of basketball. A lot of energy in this gymnasium right now. This is going to be the final home non-conference game for Avila before they begin the conference doubleheaders. That will begin home conference doubleheaders at least Saturday the 20th when we'll be back for our next broadcast. But an opportunity here at home to try and get another non-conference victory.
Absolutely, and the one name I want to mention that wasn't listed as a starter for Central Methodist was number 5, Dwayne McClendon. Looking at his stats, I could have swore he was a starter, but looking at his minutes per game, it now makes sense.
Out of bounds early, and it goes to Central Methodist. Opening stages, no time off the clock just yet, as Central Methodist will have it May to inbound. Avila in a man-to-man defense. We talked about Central Methodist coming into this game at 2-0, a couple of 40-plus blowout wins to begin their 2021-22 season. Not a bad start. Get out wide. This is Camara. Brown. Inside. Traveling. Good defense.
And you always kind of hit the panic button there when you go to cross the lane drive and you stop right around the top of the key. You kind of hit the panic button and you try to start figuring things together. Didn't happen there, and he took too many steps.
I mentioned this Avila basketball team led by Coach Bill Sloan in his 6th season, and coming off of a 500 record last year as that ball went out of bounds to Central Methodist. But a really good season last year. Just, again, we talked about last broadcast, they just ran into some trouble of having so many days off they couldn't get back into a rhythm second half of this season.
100% true. Now they're just looking to keep a rhythm going to start the season, hopefully get a couple wins under their belt.
Oh, and a blocking foul underneath on Tyree King, and that will send Central Methodist Tim Cameron, the senior from Norcross, Georgia, to the line.
Tim Cameron coming into today is averaging 12 points per game, 5.5 assists per game, and 5 rebounds.
So the first one strong, and we still have no score in the first minute of action here from the Mabee Fieldhouse. Central Methodist against Avila, and neither one goes down, so Avila with the basketball right back. King on the wing. Smith, he can shoot from deep, and he hit it. First bucket of the game is a 3 from Eric Smith Jr.
And that brings him to 50% from beyond the arc on the season, shooting 5 for 10 outside the arc.
Cameron to answer, can't do it, and over the back, good block out by Heinrich Schweiger.
Central Methodist foul charged to number 24, Thomas Sowulu. His first.
That's on number 24, Thomas Sowulu. He is from England, standing at 6'8", and he is the cover photo for this men's basketball team when you look at their website, so he is definitely going to be somebody you want to keep your eye on.
Heinrich Schweiger works on Cameron, one of the best defenders. Nice pass to Smith. King for 3. No. Rebound, Cameron. Here comes Central Methodist.
King's been having his struggles from out there. He's only shooting 26% from beyond the arc. That's going to be something he's got to turn around soon.
Camara on the travel. So Avila's defense coming up big here early. Banks. Simpson guarded by May. Heinrich. Double team. Kick out. Smith. Can't get it to fall. Rebound, Camara.
There's been a lot of perimeter-oriented play today. We're going to see which team really tries to get it in the paint first.
Nearly came away with a steal. Avila's defense relentless. Brown, strong, tipped around. Cameron. And Sowulu had it knocked out, so it stays with Central Methodist.
And as a big man, a forward, center, a 4 or 5 build, you don't want to bring the ball down before bringing it back up. If you get it high, keep the ball high, just turn around and put it away.
Cameron trying to find Sawulu underneath. This is Camara. Cameron, step back on the line, strong, tipped around. Simpson taken away by Cameron, can't get it to fall. Bodies flying everywhere. Cameron again, and this one goes. First bucket for Central Methodist.
Well, that took a while, but they're finally on the board as we've just now ellipsed 3 minutes of the game.
So Avila, who's looked strong here early, just haven't gotten the baskets to fall either. Heinrich Schweiger in the corner, trying to put the move on. Nice find. Smith, and he's got all 5 points for Avila today so far.
One of the things I really want to point out there at the top of the key, Banks did a great job there swinging the ball quickly. That's going to be a concern for Coach Salone moving forward because you have to be able to be indecisive with your pass, or not indecisive, but unique with your passes.
So Ulu had it taken away on the rebound by King. Heinrich Schweiger lob, Simpson strong. And here comes Brown the other way.
Thought I was going to see the first alley-oop of the season for the Eagles.
And Brown and one on the other end, a chance to tie the game up in the first 4 minutes.
For number 20, Jonathan Brown. Foul charged Avila's number 5, Eric Smith Jr., his first, team second. Substitution for Central Methodist, checking in number 4, Jaden McGrew. To the line, shooting in Avila, number 20.
So Jaden McGrew now in the game for Central Methodist. Dylan DeShazer about to check in for Avila. Free throw doesn't go, so Avila will bring the ball down, and DeShazer will have to wait a moment. Smith. Heinrich Schweiger finds Smith underneath. Kick out King. Got it. Three-pointer.
Avila really likes those corner threes. Not a whole lot of players anymore really use the backboard to bank it in. So, with that in mind, might as well shoot that corner three where you're the closest to the hoop.
Brown working on Simpson. Brown, who's tied for third in scoring on the Central Methodist team early in the season. Camara, step through, can't get it to fall, tipped around, and King with the rebound for Avila. Simpson, what a pass! King had it tipped away. Central Methodist the other way with Brown. Tried to find Camara, taken away by Banks. Do you like fast-paced basketball?
I was about to say, this game's turning into a track meet.
King again for three.
Corner three, same spot. You got to be more disciplined than that on defense.
Nice start for Avila. They have built an 11-4 lead against Central Methodist, trying to win their second game against the Central Methodist Eagles in consecutive seasons. We will be right back. And we're back, still in the timeout here on AvilaAthletics.com and the KCAC Digital Network. We want to thank you all for joining us here. Final home non-conference game for the Avila Eagles men's basketball team, trying to win their first game of the season. Great start, 11-4. Couldn't ask for anything better if you're an Avila fan.
Avila comes out hot in the first half. Hopefully they can come out just as hot in the second half and keep this game rolling, but we got to get there first.
So Central basketball. We played 5 minutes. Lyles. May. This is Brown. Back to May. And loose ball. And it goes out of bounds. And it goes to Avila. So great hustle. Jalen Dinkins getting on the floor. Coach will like to see that.
Absolutely. You like to see the hustle there, especially after, there was a tipped pass on the far side of the court. So Smith Jr. goes to play some help defense. He misses. Dante Simpson misses. So all of a sudden you're playing 3-on-5, and they still somehow come away with a steal of sorts.
King with it, guarded by McGrew. Dante Simpson again leads the team in assists right now. No surprise there. Great job at distributing the basketball. King with 6 on the shot clock. Takes the 3. Strong, tipped around, gathered by McGrew. Central Methodist basketball. May, kick out 3. Lyles, Strong, Smith, the rebound.
There was no contest on that shot, aside from what the bench may have screamed in his ear because he's standing right in front of them. But, nobody was out there, had a hand in his face, just plain old whiffed it.
Smith off on the other end, and here comes Kamara the other way, nearly taken by King. McGrew steals Smith. Avila's defense has been very hard to really get anything going if you're a Central Methodist basketball player right now. They're playing great defense.
So far in the season, Smith Jr. has 2 steals. So far tonight, he's got 2.
DeShazer, who's checked into the game now. Kick out, Dinkins for 3. Off the mark. Rebound, Kamara. Central Methodist. Offensive foul. And Dante Simpson, who's turning into a charge specialist, gets the offensive foul against Central Methodist.
I was going to make a Matador comparison, but normally they move the flag in time. With Dante, he just takes the hit and falls down.
It's a great job by Dante Simpson and sacrificing his body to get the charging call as Kilpatrick checks in the game, as well as Barbary. Barbary had an impressive game the other night against Missouri Valley off the bench.
Absolutely did. He ended up walking away with around 10 points in that game. And a lot of those 3-pointers he had came at crucial times in the game.
Kilpatrick. Simpson, good crossover. Kick out. Barbary, 3. Strong. Simpson, the offensive board, and then threw it away. McGrew lost the handle, and Kilpatrick couldn't save it, so it remains with Central Methodist.
And that was a great heads-up play there by Dante Simpson. He was outside of the scrum of sorts underneath the basket.
Nice rugby
Ended
reference.
up grabbing it, throwing it as quick as possible. Unfortunately, just threw it away instead of to his teammate.
So Central Methodist down, and they've been held in check these first few minutes, and they can't get another one to fall. McGrew on the miss. Here comes Dinkins for Avila.
And it's not like they're taking bad shots. A lot of these possessions, Avila has been forcing them to take less than favorable shots, but some of these shots they're taking, they're just rattling out, missing by a couple of inches.
Dinkins for 3. No, Brown tipped it, and it stays with Avila. Last touch by Brown of Central Methodist.
That is Dinkins' preferred spot. Both corners, he is an absolute lights-out shooter. He will not be deterred today from one miss.
So Avila on the inbound, trying to find Dinkins underneath. Now they get it to Kilpatrick, and the left hand won't fall. Both teams having some problems here recently getting a basket to fall. Cameron, Brown, free throw line. Nope, Cameron, McGrew. Good ball movement, still will not fall for Central Methodist. And then they lost the handle. 3-on-2. Dinkins. Nice block by Brown, and it stays with Avila.
Tried to take it himself in, didn't get high enough. Nice block there by Central Methodist. And you're just going to have to be able to be comfortable inbounding it under the basket. And now that's the player I've been looking for, number 23, Frody Kamara. He's a great player, so definitely be on the lookout for him tonight.
Nice pass inside to Shazer. Great feed from Heinrich Schweiger. Andrews, who's also checked into the game. Cameron about lost his footing. Good job to stay balanced. Andrews, 3. That won't fall. Camara, the offensive board. Works on DeShazer and gets the 2. And it's been a while since we've seen Central Methodist with a basket.
Camara's shooting 65% from the field. He averages 13.5 points per game, but he is that sixth-man role player looking at it from stats. I didn't expect him to come off the bench this late. Seeing that he only gets 18.5 minutes per game, I guess it does make sense. But being the second leading scorer on the team, I'd expect him to get more minutes.
Oh, Cameron nearly came away with a steal and then out of bounds to Avila. As it looked like Barbary got taken to the floor as well. So Kilpatrick comes out and Tremaine Banks in for Avila. And Eric Smith Jr. back in for Dylan DeShazer.
Not exactly running small ball because they do have Smith Jr. in, but they can spread the floor with this lineup.
Banks tips it back. Cameron, though, comes away with it for Central Methodist. Good step through in the lay-in.
Absolutely beautiful step through there. Evaded the defense, had a perfect look for him.
Again, Avila trying to win their first game of the season tonight at home. Their second home game so far this year, and the ball thrown away. Turnover gives it back to Central Methodist. This is what Central Methodist has done to their last couple of opponents. In fact, their last time out, they forced 11 turnovers in that game and held their opponent to 18% shooting from the floor, hence why they got a nice 40-plus point victory.
That is absolutely true. You look at any team that scores over 100 points in a game during one of their first 3 games, you know that either their offseason was amazing or they're just truly the better team on the floor.
Brown for 3, yes. And Central Methodist starting to heat up. They're down only 2.
And it looked like Brown went into his shooting motion there before he completely turned towards the hoop. That's just an amazing shot there.
King gets a screen from Smith. Banks, 3, can't fall. Avila cooling off. Andrews for 3, yes! Central Methodist with the lead for the first time today. Timeout, Coach Sloan and Avila. Well, let's take a timeout as well, as Central Methodist cannot miss right now from outside. They lead by 1. And we're back, 9:30 to play in the first half, and Central Methodist, after being down 11-4 early in this one, they're now up 14-13, forcing Coach Sloan to take that last time out. Avila basketball.
And Avila, honestly, like their offense just needs to little jump start, little bit of a movement. Maybe not a big three-pointer to get things started like they've been trying to get. Maybe just slash the lane, take it to the hoop, get a quick 2 points, go the other way.
Smith, strong, rebound Cameron. Here comes Central Methodist. Cameron, no basket, but he's fouled. Also wanted a high five there from the official.
Only person I've seen successfully get a high five from the officials, Tom Brady.
There you go. You gotta like him trying. You have to try, right?
Got to respect the effort. Respect the effort.
Absolutely. 3-pointer from Brown, short. Long rebound gathered by Lyles. Cameron. This is Brown to the lane, blocked. Simpson with numbers. King off balance. Simpson can't get the tip. Brown the other way for Central Methodist. 3-on-2. Camara, kick out. Cameron, 3. Yes.
And once again, I talked about it early on, but this game is going to be a track meet. Back and forth, high pace. Both teams like to score in transition. Avila more adapt to scoring in a more uniform set-up offense. But this CMU team, they really like to score in transition.
Had a mismatch underneath, I think. You like that matchup with Smith against Cameron. Cameron listed as a guard against probably Avila's tallest player, and they drew a foul.
And Cameron definitely may lack in a little bit of height in that matchup, but he makes up for it in his jump. He can jump out of the gym in pregame. We saw him throwing down some fire dunks.
King for 3. A much-needed Avila basket.
Maybe that'll be the shot that Avila's offense needed to jumpstart things going here. We'll have to find out.
Three-pointer, Lyles, short. Heinrich Schweiger, nice rebound and kicks it ahead to King. 2-on-1. Simpson, lob for King, and Simpson was out of bounds. They may be working on that in practice a little bit more. I think they were both trying to feed the other one for the big lay-in or big dunk, and it just wasn't quite there. They weren't in sync.
My inside source for the team was talking to me, and they said, the NBA is, the next step they'd like to go from here, but if they can't make it, the Harlem Globetrotters have sent a letter in the mail.
There you go. It's not a bad team to play for.
I heard they're pretty good. The record's pretty good.
Yeah. Brown with it for Central Methodist, up by 1. Brown, Cameron, Sawulu, quickly working it around. Nice defense by Smith, but a little too good.
Nobody really in foul trouble early on in this game. Both teams still under 5 fouls as we are 7 minutes, 20 seconds away from halftime.
So DeShazer back in for Smith, and I think Coach Sloan just trying to keep Smith from getting that third foul with 7:19 left in the half. Sawulu double teamed. Good spin, step through, and rebound Simpson for Avila. Everybody wants to walk, nobody's getting one. Avila wanted one down here, and the Central Methodist bench just wanted one. Banks for 3.
The three-pointers, especially from the corners early on tonight, have been falling. You're going to have to try to lock those down if you're Central Methodist, and if you're the Eagles, keep pounding the rock down there.
Sawulu can't get it. Heinrich Schweiger the other way.
And that's a matchup I'm going to love to watch tonight, DeShazer and Sawulu.
Yeah, DeShazer holding his own right now. Avila's got the lead. Great anticipation by Simpson. Dante Simpson, special D, a little too far for Banks.
It was a great bounce pass, got it right through the angle. Unfortunately, he did not rotate his hand over enough to get spin on it. That's a tough break.
So as we approach the final 6 minutes of the half, back and forth. Started out with Avila, an 11-4 lead. Central Methodist able to come back and take the lead. And then Avila's had a couple of big threes to have a 2-point lead once again. Cameron looking for Camara underneath. Has him. Andrews. This is McGrew. And McGrew for 2.
And that was a great job there by Banks to force him into a harder lane than what it was originally planned out to be. Great finish there by number 4, McGrew.
King, screen from DeShazer. Heinrich Schweiger thought about it. Banks on Brown, fouled and one.
Definitely not the direction I was expecting him to turn. When he was backing him down, he applied he applied pressure towards the middle of the lane. I was expecting him to kick back around for a fader near the baseline or continue towards the baseline for a lay-in. But proved me wrong, and he got 2 points, possibly a third.
Yeah, big basket there as Banks a chance to get a three-pointer the old-fashioned way, and he does. Now, Avila, don't look now, they've got a three-point lead. Scoring starting to pick up here in the second portion of this first half. And these teams met last year after a 2-year break. Simpson with the steal. Banks, nice move in the lay-in. Tremaine Banks starting to heat up.
Finally got that bounce pass to Banks that he's been looking for all night. The last one bounced too far away. This one right in his basket.
Three-pointer good from Isaiah May. 2-point game.
You can definitely feel who's got the home team advantage, not just in, the court, but in overall fans. You really don't see that many fans for other home events, but tonight there's been a decent amount of fans for the Eagles.
As May ties the game. So now we're all tied up at 24. Final 4 minutes and 30 seconds as Heinrich Schweiger in a bit of trouble.
One of the assistant coaches for the CMU Eagles is turning a little rosy around the cheeks.
I think they wanted some sort of a 10-second call, but it may have touched as Tremaine Banks. Avila back on top by 3. Three-pointer May, he answers. It is the Banks and May show right now.
Well, both of these teams live and die by the 3 ball. One team's a little bit more successful than the other team at it. So we're going to have to just see how this one plays out.
Simpson guarded by Brown. Banks, you're going to have to keep an eye on him if you're a Central Methodist fan, the way he's been playing recently. King with 4 on the shot clock. All the way, can't get the roll. Cameron, nice pass. Camara for 2, and it's a 2-point lead for Central Methodist.
This team, Central Methodist, averages 100 points per game, and Avila's holding them to under 30 so far in the half. That's a victory for Avila. They just got to keep their offense moving.
Final 3 minutes of the first half. King works against Cameron. Good defense. Oh, and DeShazer wide open underneath, too hot, and it's out of bounds.
Central Methodist ball. Returning to the floor for Avila, number 34, Josh Kilpatrick, and number 12, Jalen Dinkins.
So Kilpatrick and Dinkins back in the game for Avila. And Central Methodist trying to make this a 2-possession game. Cameron all the way, and he beats 3 defenders for the bucket.
Cameron's been trying to do all he can to get his team in this game, which he has, and now take the lead as far as he can.
Cameron with another bucket. Timeout Avila as Central Methodist on a nice little run. They've got a 6-point lead with 2:22 remaining in the first half. And Jacob, thoughts on what you've seen so far?
So far, this game has lived up to the hype we were talking about pregame. It's going to be a fast-paced, run-em, gun-em game. So far, it's been pretty fun to watch. Streaks and runs is the name of Avila's game. They can hit shots for a while, then they stop hitting shots for a while. If they can get a little bit, a little hot here right before the end of the first half, take the lead by 5-6 points, I could see this being a really good game coming down to the wire.
They have a big possession here. 2:22 remaining in the first half, and it's a 6-point Central Methodist advantage. Again, this game started off with an 11-4 lead for Avila, and then recently teams going back and forth. Cameron, another steal. Cameron, who leads the team in steals, takes it all the way for another 2.
Cameron on offense, Cameron on defense. You just got to start moving the ball away from him. He's getting steals. He's getting points. You got to try to negate him as a player.
Heinrich Schweiger, Kilpatrick, Simpson for three, short. Rebound, Camara. As all of a sudden, this is an 8-point lead. Cameron doesn't get the roll, but he will head to the line for two.
And that's going to be one of those very rare incidences where Dante Simpson does not draw the charge. You know, he wasn't completely set. He was expecting, him to pull up. He ends up putting a body into him, throws it up, and he heads to the line to shoot two.
First shot strong. Cameron, who at least early in the season, shooting 28% coming into this game, not the strongest part of his game, but he does have a lot of other strong parts to his game, like steals, assists, and obviously one of the team leaders in scoring too. Gets the second one to go. It's a 9-point Central Methodist advantage.
That'll be his first free throw make of the night. 1 for 4. He had those first 2 free throws and then that last 2 right there. Talking about strong parts of his game, free throws, maybe not it. Driving and slashing the lane, definitely it.
As Avila near the end of the first half trying to find something on offense. Barbary, no. Rebound, Central Methodist. Brown hustles down the floor, knocked out. Central Methodist basketball. Oh, Coach Jeff Sherman wanted a foul, and he is really upset about that. Coach Jeff Sherman for Central Methodist, 37th year as head coach at Central Methodist, a graduate there, also a member of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. Andrews, inside, Camara, no. Gets the putback and the foul.
I really don't make a habit of calling you a liar, but when I heard you say 37 years, I thought you were going to say years old. Not trying to make somebody feel older than they really are, but he doesn't exactly look 37. I think the stress of the job might have gotten to him.
That shot is off, and King with the rebound. And, folks, I'm just going to leave that out there, and it is what it is. May guards King. Under a minute to play. Heinrich Schweiger. King. Kick out. Dinkins for three. No. Kilpatrick with a strong board. And a foul. And it's on Central Methodist. So Avila basketball with 37 seconds left.
His first, team's fifth. Returning to the floor for Avila, number 22, Tremaine Banks.
Tried to find Kilpatrick cutting, but it's taken away. Brown jams it home.
2 points, Jonathan Brown.
He got up there and went a little flashy with it. The whole stiff body, one arm.
That was a good dunk.
Hey, if I could jump that high, I'd do it too.
Shot clock off. Final 18 seconds. Avila needs a bucket before halftime. So all of a sudden a 13-point lead for Central Methodist. Heinrich Schweiger. Banks, who's been hot. Doesn't go. Rebound Camara. Andrews. As the clock expires, off on the shot, and I think he was late anyway. So that does it for the first half. Central Methodist comes back after being down 11-4 at the beginning of this one to take a 40-27 halftime lead. Jacob, before we go to break, your thoughts?
My thoughts so far, Avila's offense has been the downfall of their play today. 27 points in the first half. It's a little shy of what you'd like to see. You'd like to see somewhere between 35 to 45. But looking at the other team only having 40 points, it shouldn't be this low scoring looking at both of these teams' offense, but it ends up being that low scoring. We're just going to have to see how it plays out.
Well, we will have to see how it plays out in this second half. Again, Avila down 40-27. We will step aside. We'll be back for the second half here in a bit on AvilaAthletics.com. And everybody, welcome back. Halftime here from the Maybe Fieldhouse. This is Joe Van Amberg, Jacob Kruckenberg, and pleased to be joined by Avila standout basketball player now working with the athletic department, Brittany Freeman. Brittany, first, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks for having me.
So we needed an expert that actually, knows something about college basketball because, well, we think we're pretty smart. You're most definitely the smartest person of the three of us here.
Right.
Just kind of, what were some of your thoughts in watching that first half? Avila starting off strong, but Central Methodist able to come away with the lead. What were your impressions?
Right, yeah. I think just honestly, this is a fast-paced game for sure. You can definitely tell that if you're just watching. And I definitely think just, our offense is not really executing as well as we needed it to be. I think we're doing a really good job about kind of crowding that paint on defense and stuff like that. But, the rebounds is what's killing us. They're getting a couple different opportunities to get that, an opportunity to get a shot back up. And it's just not quite all going together right now. I was thinking about at the 10-minute mark when Coach Sloan called that timeout, I was kind of thinking, they went on a 10-0 run and, our boys would come out and, kind of make a difference and stuff like that. But I think, honestly, at this time, our biggest thing that we're going to have to work on is executing our plays and being really strategic on what shots we're taking and what shots we're not taking, honestly, because there's been a couple of guys that's been wide open or a chance to do a shot, and they're not taking it, So these Central Methodist guys are pretty tall, they're pretty long, but that doesn't mean that, our boys are pretty fast. So we are running a fast-paced game, so let's push it and let's go in transition.
What are some adjustments you think that Avila needs to make in the second half to try and get back in this game?
I honestly think, my biggest thing that I always played by was just defense wins games. So I think, honestly, if we can really compact that paint, they have a pretty big forward playing for Central Methodist tonight. But I think, honestly, the boys, are doing a really great job about trying to double up on that guy. But I think it's really going to come down to their defense. And that defense is going to push in transition. You saw that a little bit in the first half is getting some stops, making Central Methodist turn it over, and those led to transition points. Now on that transition side, we just have to finish. That comes back to executing. So I think, honestly, if our boys can do a really great job about, talking and communicating on defense, I think that we can get a lot more turnovers, we can get a lot more stops, and that will then transition into some executing on some offense. So I think, honestly, just communicating and doing the simple things right now, I think maybe even trying to slow the game down a little bit for our boys, I think that's really going to help them and try and get into more of an offense and a steady pace.
Absolutely, and to piggyback off of what Ms. Freeman was saying, the defensive rebounds also need to be picked up here. We're getting out-rebounded by 10-plus rebounds so far at halftime. So the more rebounds we can get, the less opportunities they're going to have for second-chance looks. Defense wins games, defense wins championships.
I definitely agree with that, yeah, for sure. So I think there's a lot of things that our boys can hopefully change in the second half, and I'm hoping that Coach Sloan really had a good talk with them over halftime, and hopefully we'll see a different change in a different aspect out of the second half.
Awesome. Well, Brittany, that is some fantastic insight. Like I said, it's great to have someone who, has actually played college basketball
right.
To come in here and kind of give us, because, there's a lot of things that I'm sure, the folks at home and us up here, we may be missing that you're picking up and seeing like these runs and, the lack of execution. And we're going to see if, the guys can turn it around here in the second half and come away with the victory.
Yeah, for sure. They've been down a lot worse than this before. And so I think, honestly, they're going to put their minds to it, and I'm hoping that we'll come out with a fresh start for the second half and just kind of see where it goes.
Awesome. Well, Brittany, thanks for joining us here on halftime. We hope that this is just the first of many times we get to have these conversations, so I'd love to have you back here. Also want to mention the post-game show.
Yes.
Is going to be featuring Miss Brittany Freeman, so we'll be looking forward to that after the game as well. But, Brittany, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, not a problem. See you for post-game.
All right, folks, getting ready for the start of the second half. And, Jacob, just some great insight from Brittany Freeman there at halftime, kind of giving us some adjustments maybe and just some of the things that Avila needs to improve on in the second half.
Absolutely, and you mentioned it too. It's so nice having that great insight from a, ex-player and somebody on the sideline too.
And a great start for Avila there, getting right to the bucket. Tremaine Banks, the hot hand in the first half, makes the first bucket.
And that's something that the Eagles did not do a lot except for in transition was get to the hoop.
Brown for three, yes. Well, Central Methodist is still hot from beyond the arc. So Avila again, they got a bucket to begin the half. Smith for three. Well, he's starting the second half like he did the first.
And you like to see the big man, Eric Smith Jr., hit that long ball because that increases his ability and his mentality that he can stretch the floor.
Well, now an offensive foul gives the basketball back to Avila. And very important possessions here. Suulu called for the foul. Avila down by 11, chance to try and get this thing back to single digits. Heinrich Schweiger, screen from Smith. Banks. Smith. King. Smith for three. Short. Brown with the board.
And as Miss Freeman was talking about during that, halftime show, there's some opportunities that the Eagles are not seeing as well. On that last possession for the Eagles, they had Simpson open in the far corner, but instead Smith Jr. passed it to near corner because that was the easier sight line.
King for three. Single-digit lead now for Central Methodist.
King, I don't know what he's doing today, but he is feeling it, shooting well over 30% from beyond the arc tonight.
Central Methodist trying to get this lead back to double digits. Cameron, leading scorer for everybody in that first half. Brown for two, short. King with the board. Heinrich Schweiger, nice move. Simpson, nice pass inside Smith with the right hand.
And Smith gets that one to go. But once again, Heinrich Schwager's out there. He's got that open shot. He can pull that shot if he wants it. It's all about confidence for him, whether or not he's confident enough to take the shot.
And, some things that Brittany mentioned during the halftime show, do you think they're executing a little bit better on the offensive end right now?
Absolutely. So far, their, field goal percentage in the second half is a lot higher than it was in the first.
As King with an open lane. Kick out, Smith for three, yes! Oh, it's a three-point game.
And talk about night and day in the last two games that we've called. The first game, they came out at halftime flat, and they got down by 10 points. This game, they were down well over 10 points, and now they're back after a 10-point run.
Brown, three-pointer, May, yes, big answer. And talk about needing buckets. Central Methodist needed a bucket there as Cameron comes away with a strip back to May. McGrew all the way for two in the basket and the foul.
And that's a tough pill to swallow there. Smith Jr. looked like he was going to go for slow to get off the ground, actually. This is not looking good.
Hope that he's okay, holding the back of his head. So looks like DeShazer's going to come in for him. Smith, we talked about this last broadcast, coming off of an injury last year, and they hope that he's going to be okay, but he's running off the floor. Good sign for Avila.
But once again, he was going for the block there for the longest time. Last second, tried to set his feet. The ref said he didn't get it set in time, and he calls him for the blocking foul.
Cameron, kick out Brown. Oh, tipped away, and Central Methodist basketball. Simpson hustling after it.
And that's one of the scariest things about Cameron today in this game, watching him play. He's got so many different tools, so many different moves in his arsenal that you don't know what to guard him on. He's got that step back. He can drive the lane. He's got a floater too.
And an offensive foul again against Central Methodist. That's their second of the half. This lead was 3 for Central Methodist. They built it back up to 8, but now Avila, again, a chance to try and cut into it a little bit here.
Now the key thing here, Avila needs a bucket. It doesn't have to be a 3. They just need to get some sort of points on the board. They can't afford to go down double digits again.
King runs point, guarded by May. King, fader off the mark, and McGrew the rebound. Camara, Brown. May, no. Camara the board. And doesn't get it to go. A jump ball called. Possession arrow to Central Methodist. As Jonathan Brown had a conversation with the official here on the near side about something, and may have been some contact that he wanted the official to keep an eye on. Cameron for 3. Air ball, but Camara gets the second putback. 10-point advantage, Central Methodist.
Eagles once again down 10, and this was the thing I was most afraid of. Being down double digits, they're going to try to put up more three-pointers than what they should. They can shoot the 3, but they need to be able to have a healthy balance between 2s and 3s.
Simpson with 6 on the clock. Doesn't go. Camara, another rebound.
Simpson, not one of those players who you expect to shoot the ball a lot, but when he does shoot it, you expect it to go in.
As Cameron hit the 3 and had some words for the student section at Avila.
And if I do take it upon myself, the student section looks to be about 50% football players. Make sure you tune in this Saturday. They're playing at Friends. It'll be the last game of the season for the Eagles.
As Cameron comes away with another rebound.
The floater by Cameron missed. The attempted putback by McGrew also missed. Eagles take it the other way.
And a turnover. So don't want the turnovers right now when you're trying to make a comeback down by 13. Well, Jacob, you mentioned we've got a lot of exciting things happening.
If you look down at the baseline right there in the white, that is Mike Lang, the cameraman, and over on the far side is Garrett Tipton, taking photos for tonight. Sorry to cut you off, Joe, but if you are a parent, family member, fan, or you're just looking for some good basketball shots, make sure to contact Avila Athletics for either of their websites.
King, a steal, reverse doesn't go. Simpson tried to put back, and loose ball, and Heinrich Schweiger comes away with it. King. Banks. Floater, short, offensive board. King, 3. No. Brown with the board.
And that's the last thing you want when you're the Eagles here on offense. You don't want multiple shots and multiple offensive rebounds. You want quick shots, quick points, get back on D.
As a foul, Brown gets the bucket and the foul. So Trey Heinrich Schweiger on the foul, his first foul. As Brown makes the free throw to complete the three-point play, and now it's 56-40. Kilpatrick comes in for Heinrich Schweiger. Well, nope, just kidding. Banks and DeShazer will take a breather. Smith also back in.
Going into halftime, the Eagles were down 13, now down 16 with even less time left on the clock. This is going to be a tough break for the Eagles if they can't get the ball rolling on offense started soon.
There's Avila basketball here. Under 13 to play. Simpson. Heinrich Schweiger inside Smith. And throws it away. Out of bounds to Central Methodist. Well, Jacob, you mentioned that the football team heads on the road for the final game of the regular season against Friends. Also would like to mention that the basketball team, men's basketball team, plays at Benedictine College on Thursday. And then, speaking of Friends, both the men's and women's team begin conference play on the 17th against Friends as Sewulu underneath for 2. So Avila and Friends are going to get to know each other pretty well over the next few weeks.
One could say they're about to become friends.
Oh, that was just teed up for you, wasn't it? So we approach 12 minutes left. King for 3, no. And tipped out Central Methodist basketball. The threes were starting to fall for Avila early in the half. They have cooled off once again and now down once again by 18.
And the sign of a great team is being able to identify the threes aren't falling, switch to something else. Not saying Avila's not a great team, but they have the ability to become one. When they notice their threes aren't falling, they have to be able to switch to a driving low post game.
As Avila forces the turnover and timeout. So Central Methodist will take a timeout with 12:04 left. They lead 58-40 over Avila. After this game got within 3, they have blown it wide open once again, Jacob.
The Swedes win set 2 to blow the matchup, 1 set apiece. Currently in the third set, Bethany leads 17-14.
So this just in from the KCAC tournament for volleyball. Avila is currently tied with Bethany 1-1, halfway through set number 3 right now. Still a close game. If you're not, if this game concludes early, which it does not have a good chance to do, but if you're looking to switch to something else, volleyball is on right now. Make sure to tune into that if you get the chance.
Or just do a split screen. You can keep this game on, get a split screen, put that one on, watch them both.
Yeah, make sure to mute their audio so you can still listen to us, though.
As Simpson guarded by Cameron King. Heinrich Schweiger to the paint, lays it, nope. Tipped around, Cameron the board. Nice move, 3-on-2. Takes it himself and gets the roll. 20-point advantage, Central Methodist.
And that's just unfair there by Tim Cameron. He took off his last footprint. His heel was on the free throw line and just basically walked in the air all the way to the hoop.
Simpson, 3, can't fall. And Cameron, who's just been all over the floor. We'll be doing our players of the game at the end of the broadcast. I got to tell you, Cameron's on the top of my list for Central Methodist right now.
It's going to be a hard sell to not put him on it.
And Smith came away with a steal, ball loose. King, a nice job to hustle after it. Heinrich Schweiger, the reverse lay-in. Well, folks, again, want to remind you that at the end of this one, Brittany Freeman will be joining us on the post-game show as another bucket underneath for Sewulu.
Sewulu not doing anything fancy there. Nice, simple reverse lay-in, making sure he gets the points, not the style points. But the little man bun did add some.
So foul on Central Methodist. McGrew, and now substitutions all around the place. Isaiah May in for Cameron, and Barbary back in for Avila, as well as Jalen Dinkins. Simpson, nice step through, blocked, but Perez or somebody may have been called for a foul there. Perez, who just checked into the game for Central Methodist.
Foul charge to CMU's number 13, Michael Perez.
And Perez is the one charged with the foul. So that'll send Dante Simpson back to the line. We talked about Dante Simpson not quite hitting the free throws at a rate that he's used to, but chance here to start upping that free throw percentage once again.
Absolutely. Coming into the game, he was, right around that 50% from the line. As the season continues, he will get up to around the 85-90% range, if not over, if he acts like he did last year.
Well, he just hit 2 right there to make this an 18-point game. Barbary nearly came away with a steal, and he got the ball tipped off the Central Methodist player, Avila basketball.
And that's just great hustle there by the freshman number 4, Barbary.
Yeah, Barbary, an exciting player for this Avila team. He'll try the 3. Got it. So Barbary cuts it to 62-47. Perez with it. Double teamed. Out of bounds, Avila ball. 10 minutes left. And Avila is trying to fight their way back in this one. Every possession right now, Jacob, for Avila is so important.
And once again, we're not to the point where it's started to huck a shot. It's to the point where get the best look possible. If you can get inside and get a high percentage shot, take it. If you have a good three-point shooter and a good three-point look, take that as well.
Foul underneath. That'll be the 5th team foul against Central Methodist. So Avila 2 away from the bonus. Trent Lyles' first foul. Team fouls becoming important here late. Oh, nice feed underneath. Kirkpatrick can't get it. So Kilpatrick will head to the line for 2. He couldn't quite get the ball in a good spot on the rim for the three-point play, but still to the line to shoot a couple.
And that foul is going to act as a double whammy. Double whammy, fun expression, for Central Methodist, because now the next foul, Avila is in the bonus. And this foul, he's at the line shooting 2.
Well, Kilpatrick, the sophomore, makes the first. He was kind of coming in more in mop-up duty last year. Got some time late in the game, but more time this year as a sophomore, and hits 2 big free throws.
Subbing in for Central Methodist is number 0, Jackson Andrews, a guard standing 6'3" out of St. Louis, Missouri.
Brown. Oh, Kilpatrick nearly forced a turnover. Brown thought about the 3. Barbary guards him. Lyles. Sawulu, double team. Traveling. So now, Avila could potentially cut this to 11, possibly 10. So we still have a little over 9 minutes left in regulation. Kilpatrick, the spin, left hand, no! Smith, out of bounds to Central Methodist.
And I'll be honest with you, he may not be the build, physique, talent of him, but I almost thought I was going to see a dream shake right there. Hakeem Olajuwon style. Go back the other way for an easy look. I could have swore it was in the works.
Brown doesn't get it to fall, and a foul. And Coach Sloan is beside himself. Assistant coach Josh King had his mouth just wide open, putting his hand on his head, holding the clipboard. I think their point was the official came in from mid-court to make the foul, and the official underneath watching there did not call a foul, as it looked like Smith kind of bailed out at the end, I think is their point, as Brown makes the first one. But nonetheless, it is Brown at the line for 2. So that official near the center court line saw something that indicated to him there was a foul.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say the official right at the baseline didn't see any foul play, but his eyes were probably at a different part. The official from midcourt probably saw his feet, had a more full picture. I never like to see the Eagles get called for a foul, but I know nobody's perfect.
Under 9 minutes left, Avila basketball down by 15. Nice cut by Barbary, guarded by Andrews. Dinkins, Brown guards him. Barbary, man-to-man pressure from Central Methodist. Barbary, tough floater!
Well, last year's freshman sensation was Hunter Hoggett. This year, it is most definitely going to be number 4, Adam Barbary.
Andrews doesn't get the tip around. Brown, with the rebound. Foul. Everybody wants the basketball. And Dinkins comes out there with it, and Brown is making his case with the official again. As both those guys, they like the basketball, they just did not want to let it go. Foul is on Dinkins.
Returning for CMU number 3, Tim Cameron.
Coach Sherman puts the ace back in the game, number 3, Tim Cameron. Hopefully he's still hot off the bench for Coach Sherman, but hopefully for Coach Sloan, he's got to get a little bit reoriented with the game.
Tipped around, Cameron gets the board and puts it in. He is just the guy in the perfect spot all the time.
And it really helps to be the guy in the perfect spot when you're standing 6'3" and your wingspan is well over 6'6".
Simpson, good defense from Cameron, forces a tough shot. Andrews comes away with the rebound. Brown, fouled by Dinkins, and Dinkins and Brown collide once again.
I thought that altercation was going to end with a little bit more than just a few words back and forth. I thought it was going to end a little bit more physical and with quite possibly a couple more whistles as the last one did.
Yeah, and I think part of that, too, is you've got two players for their respective teams kind of trying to establish, that tough physical attitude, neither wanting to let go of the basketball, kind of almost, sending a message to the team of like, hey, let's be in here, let's be physical, let's try and get after this ball, we're not letting it go. As Brown makes the first one. And because if you notice, neither of them, did anything other than hanging on to the basketball.
And they're both, for the most part, they are pretty similar when it comes to their style of play. Brown is a three-point shooter who has the ability to drive the ball when he wants to. Jalen Dinkins is the catch-and-shoot threat for this team, for the Eagles. Both of them averaging right around 12, 13 points per game. So there's a lot of similarities between the two of them, which is generally going to lead to a couple of conflicts.
Well, timeout on the floor. It is 68-51. Central Methodist leads Avila. We will take the timeout, and we'll be back after this. All right, out of the timeout, 68-51. Central Methodist, 7:40 left in this one. As Avila in the second half, they were down big at the end of the first half. They've been trying to come back, but it's just never been quite enough. They'd go on a little run. Central Methodist would respond with a run of their own.
So far, they're working forward. They could put up more points in the second half than the first half, which is not out of the ordinary for a second half team. Look at the last game that this team played against Park University. They scored 30 points in the first half, 41 in the second.
Barbary showing the moves. Banks, no on the three. Comes Andrews for Central Methodist. May. Andrews. Camara, double teamed. And Cameron, a senior, calmly doing senior-like things out there, just running the offense, taking his time, understanding the lead. And nearly came away with a steal was Simpson. May underneath. No. And May gets the board. Cameron all the way. No. Rebound Smith. Inside Smith. Turnaround on May. No. Tipped around. Brown has it. Nice feed. Camara lays it in.
Camara doing a great job capitalizing on the fast break. He had two options: pass it out, go up himself. He saw the defender break more towards the three-point line, took it himself.
Simpson rattles out. May comes down with it. Here comes Cameron. Andrews for three.
3 points, Jackson Andrews.
And the game's not over yet, Joe, but that one's making the chances of a comeback slimmer and slimmer.
And now a timeout for Coach Sloan as this game is now a 22-point Central Methodist lead. They are just on fire right now. Really turned things around after we said Avila made a couple of small runs. Central Methodist just keeps coming back with these big runs and keeping this distance between them and Avila.
Absolutely. And, Avila was making their way back for a while, right? We saw them start working back into the game, making it fun, getting the crowd involved. All of a sudden, this one guy by the name of Tim Cameron.
I've heard of him.
Comes back on the floor for CMU, and all of a sudden, every single player in gray stood a little straighter. They tilted their head up, and they just played different. Cameron himself has been having a dominant game tonight, been playing well, been playing inside, outside, offense, defense, you name it. He's been the guy to go to. But just the fact that the rest of his teammates respond so well when he's on the court, that is the sign of a true leader right there.
So Central Methodist had two returning all-conference players, both honorable mention, in Jonathan Brown and Fodi Camara. If Tim Cameron does not make the all-conference list in the Heart of America this year, something is horribly wrong. If he continues playing at this high level, he is going to be all-conference, if not more. Just a great player. Banks and Cameron with the partial block.
And that's a tough one there, inbounding under the hoop. Most teams are going to set up in a quick 2-3 zone until they inbound it, and then they'll switch to either man-to-man or their normal defense. Great job there on the 2-3 zone before the inbound was made to set up an easy defensive.
Tim Cameron, there you go. 4-3. Just continues to shoot well, just doing everything well tonight. King just strong on the three. Barbary, good board. Simpson. What a pass to Smith, blocked by Camara.
And that's a tough one there. Tough pill to swallow for Smith Jr. He just got to go up a lot harder with the ball than he did.
Brown with it. Again, honorable mention, all conference last year in the Heart. Guarded by Barbary. Andrews. Steal by Simpson. And Cameron comes in, hard foul. Will send Simpson back to the line. Cameron not going to give him an easy bucket there.
The game may be a little bit out of hand, but Cameron's still playing as if it's a one-point game.
CMU's number 3, Tim Cameron, his second and team's 7th of the half.
Only 2 fouls so far in the game for Cameron. He's been playing remarkably well and remarkably clean.
Yeah, fantastic job by him today as Simpson misses the first. Well, folks, again, just a reminder that both of these teams continue beginning of the season as Central Methodist is on a little bit of a road trip as Simpson doesn't get the second one to fall and Camara with the rebound. Play Arkansas Baptist on Friday at 4:45 as Brown takes the 3 from the corner off the mark, banks the rebound, foul. Central Methodist will have it. And then they play Baptist Bible College. They play College of the Ozarks in Springfield as a part of the Baptist Bible College Classic at 6:15 on Saturday. And as I mentioned earlier, Avila plays at number 18 Benedictine on Thursday at 7 p.m. in Atchison, Kansas, and then followed by their first conference game at Friends on November 17th at 8 o'clock. That will follow the women's basketball team, who, again, I might mention, is currently undefeated.
That was a mouthful. I'll give you a second to really rest yourself there.
Andrews on the miss. King blocked by, who do you think he was blocked by?
I'm going to go off on a limb and say Cameron.
I mean, I think you could keep your eyes closed and probably figure out that it was Tim Cameron coming in and getting the block. He's just everywhere, making all the big plays. Smith, good turnaround and good lay-in.
23-point game right now. There's not a whole lot of plays you can draw up to really bring you back within 4 minutes. It's a tough break for the Eagles right now. They just got to keep their head down and just keep grinding. You got to get quick turnovers on defense and quick transition buckets on offense.
Camara, double-teamed. Kick out Brown. Barbary, good anticipation in the steal. King, 3. Off the mark. Andrews, another rebound. Brown, 3-on-3. Step through and it goes.
You like to see players slash the lane and get the basket, but at this point in the game, if you're Coach Sherman, you might ask him, hey, calm it down just a little bit. We want to drain more time off the clock before we get to that point.
So Cameron called for the travel as he hit the deck on the rebound. So Jared Larson now in the game for Avila. In 3 minutes and 4 seconds left. Blake Fowler in for Central Methodist. So Fowler getting his first opportunity, averaging 7 points a game over the first couple of games. Kilpatrick spins, left hand, yes.
Gets the turnaround to go in the paint. He had one earlier that didn't go for him, and if it would that have been the momentum switch that this team needed? We'll never know.
Brown. Andrews, 3. Off Camara, the board. Kilpatrick comes away with it. Smith, short. And Camara, another rebound.
That might be the first time I've heard Smith Jr.'s name followed by short. Generally, when he walks in a room around campus, he's one of the taller people on campus. And being on the basketball team, being the forward on the basketball team, it does make sense. I've had a couple classes with him. He's pretty smart.
Three-pointer from Andrews. Yeah, and you know they were really happy to get him back after that injury last year. He's going to be such a dynamic player for them throughout the year, especially when they get into conference play, as Heinrich Schweiger fouled.
Absolutely, and last year was a transition year for this team because, you know, they went from more or less the Shannon Boone show to the, all right, what are we going to do? Are we going to lean on one player as hard as we leaned on him? Or are we going to try to get 5 starters together who all average double digits and then have some key role players who come off the bench? Losing him early on in the season was tough. It was absolutely tough. But last year they had some people step up. They played more of a small ball role throughout the majority of the season. When they needed a big, they would put in Dylan DeShazer, who did a pretty good job for the most part defensively. Offensively, he could have used a bit more finesse moves, but that's what you get when you get Eric Smith Jr. You get more finesse than you do defense. That's the trade-off between the 2 main centers.
Now, Bryce Gelly, who just checked into the game, drew a turnover. They've also got Matthew DeLeon in the game here late, and Taylor Ginsler in the game as well for Avila. Some of the backups getting play. Perez also in there for Central Methodist. Fowler with the basketball now. Brown, May, Perez, 5 on the shot clock, out of bounds to Avila. Well, again, folks, we got a minute 21 left. Make sure to stick around for the post-game show. We'll give our final thoughts, and then Brittany Freeman will also be here on the post-game show. Got to hear some of her thoughts at halftime. I'll be curious kind of her thoughts on the team moving forward at this point as they're one game away from getting back into conference play.
Yeah, Joe, I got to talk to the producer myself. I need to know what I got to do to get a post-game show. I've been here for about 3 years, you know.
Well, let's just say, again, what I said during halftime, let's see. You played college football. She's played college basketball, the sport we are currently covering, and I have watched both. So I think we know who's the most qualified out of all of us to run the post-game show for sure, if not run a few more things. As a rebound on the miss, Central Methodist basketball. Fowler, Perez for 3, and rebound De Leon.
And that's something shocking out of this CMU team, putting up a three-pointer that early in the shot clock. Coach Sherman put in this team basically to say slow the ball down, just run out the clock, and these guys are putting up shots early on.
Larson can't get it to fall. Foul underneath. As Tillery tried to draw contact, and he may have. And that may send the freshman guard from Germantown, Tennessee, to the line. This is nice to see. Get Tillery in the game at home and chance to get yourself in the scorebook. And he does just that on the first one. First one's always the hardest one. You make that one, second one's a lot easier.
More importantly for some people, he's getting his photo taken by Mike Lang. He can put that up as his lock screen.
As he makes the second one as well. So Tillery with a couple of points now. Final 25 seconds of this one. Again, a lot of backups getting some time. Good pump fake underneath, and the 2 from Brandon Koch. So Koch again coming off the bench. 15 seconds left. De Leon guarded by Fowler. Tillery. Nice move. Short. Koch with the rebound. 4 seconds left, and that will do it. 83-59, the final score, as Central Methodist, after Avila goes on the road and beats them last year, Central Methodist returns the favor here at the Mabee Fieldhouse. As this is the final home non-conference game for Avila, they travel to face Benedictine coming up, and then begin the conference schedule with a road game against Friends on the 18th. That will be, on the 17th, that will be a doubleheader, as the women's basketball team will also be getting back in action that day as well. Conference play right around the corner. But Jacob, let's talk a little bit here about what we just saw. Obviously a tough game for Avila, great game for Central Methodist. What were some of your thoughts on the game?
Just some final thoughts on the game, just to wrap everything up with a pretty little bow as we are getting towards Christmas season. The game, it started off back and forth real quick around the 15-minute mark, around the 5-minute mark left in the first half. CMU went on a run, and the Eagles just couldn't come back from it. They were down 13 going into half. Coming back out of it, they brought it back within 3. They were hanging in there. And then this guy named Tim Cameron just said, all right, enough playing around. We came here to win. Let's do it. He put his foot on the accelerator, never looked back.
Yeah, and how about Central Methodist right now? Last year did not start off as well as they have this year, undefeated, and now you've got another dominating victory. This one, first test on the road after 2 home wins to get the 83-59 victory on the road. Central Methodist looks like they are going to be a team to contend with in the Heart of America Conference this season. So, great game for them. And as you mentioned, when we do our players of the game, player of the game, if you are a Central Methodist fan, if you're going to disagree with me on this, then you know something I don't. Tim Cameron, what a game. And this senior, he is setting up to have quite a senior season.
For the Eagles, I'm going to go with Eric Smith Jr. To start off the game, he was pretty hot. Ended up having 3 steals tonight, right around 5 or 6 rebounds, and somewhere in the range of 10 to 15 points. To start off the game, he was the driving force for the Eagles. Coming out of halftime, he was the driving force for the Eagles. I got to give it to him.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that one bit, as, again, we're just moments away here from the post-game show with Brittany Freeman. Chatting it up with some folks right now. She'll be over here in just a second. And, again, yeah, what a game. And, it's interesting how this game started, too, with Avila with that 11-4 lead, and then Central Methodist really just started pouring it on. It looked like the defense was there, and then all of a sudden Central Methodist was getting into a rhythm, and once that happened, they didn't stop.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it any better if I tried to myself. Avila just –
well, thank you.
I
appreciate that.
They got stuck in the mud. They couldn't keep going, and Central Methodist, slow and steady wins the race, and they ended up winning it tonight.
All right, folks. Well, I'm sure you're probably sick and tired of us yakking for the past few hours. So we're going to, here in just a moment, hand it off to somebody who, like we said, knows a lot more about basketball than the two of us. As much as we like to think we know, we really know. Brittany Freeman, who is the going to be the leader of our post-game show here in just a few minutes. I also want to mention Brittany. She's very popular around Avila. She had a great playing career here for several years, part of the women's basketball rebuild led by head coach Tori Murillo. She was a mainstay on that, came back again last year after COVID to play another year of basketball, had an outstanding senior season, and like I said, she's a part of getting to the NAIA tournament, which, if I'm not mistaken, the last time that the Avila women's basketball team made it to the NAIA tournament, they had a guard on that team by the name of Tori Murillo.
Absolutely. So without much further ado, we're going to jump to a 1-minute ad break, and we'll be right back afterwards with the Brittany Freeman postgame show. And hello, this is Brittany Freeman. I'm just kidding.
You and I both had jokes in our heads teed up there. Brittany is actually going to go chat with Coach here briefly, so we're going to keep it right here as we are just moments away again from Brittany Freeman's postgame show. Excited about getting her on the broadcast, and again, we had some great insight from her at halftime, and be kind of curious to hear what her thoughts were, because it felt like, some of the things that she was saying about, the execution, taking the shots and everything, that really they were doing that at the beginning, and then it just kind of faded a little bit after that. And I think, Jacob, you've got an update from one of the other Avila athletic events from around the area. Go ahead.
Absolutely. An update from the volleyball KCAC tournament. So far, Bethany is leading 2-1 as we are in the fourth set right now in Lindsborg. Avila needs to win out in order to keep moving forward in this tournament. I believe that our ladies are good enough to do so behind the accompaniment of Dee Williams, Hannah Lintel, the interior force of Chloe Brundick as the setter, who is, very likely to go for her own kill of sorts. Instead of setting it up for a team, set it over the net, catching them off guard. She's done that numerous times at home, and it's worked to perfection. That team has the ability to keep playing. Let's see if they can rally behind Coach Mo and make a big push for the Eagles.
Yeah, that would be really awesome to see. And like you mentioned, we've got Avila football again coming up here on Saturday with their final game of the regular season. You may be a little busy during that one. So, again, got plenty of things happening here as Brittany is making her way back over here. I tell you, she is quite the celebrity around here. I got to tell you, it's like the years of basketball made a lot of friends and a lot of folks saying hello and everything. So happy to have you here. And we are now very pleased to be joined by possibly the busiest person here over the past few minutes, Brittany Freeman. Well, Brittany, great to have you back on here. And you were talking about some of the things at halftime about execution, things like that. Just kind of what did you think about how the half started for Avila and then kind of how it went along after the start?
Yeah, for sure. I think definitely they came out a whole new team. They came out with a whole different vibe that second half. I think, Coach Sloan, I think that he kind of inspired them a little bit and pushed them, and they just kind of came out firing, honestly. I think just the turning point of that, it's just they kind of got back into that groove of not executing, not getting stops on defense. But for a while there, they were really on fire. They were making Central Methodist turn it over quite a bit. And they were really, using that transition and using that as an offensive weapon for them to try to get some more scores in there for them. And they were, executing on defense to get those stops.
Well, and just kind of from your perspective, what are some things that you think Avila moving forward, because we mentioned they've got Benedictine coming up, and then both they and the women's basketball team, which again we might add undefeated currently,
right,
are getting ready to start conference play here very soon against Friends. What are some things you think that they need to kind of keep working on here as they get ready for Benedictine, number 18 in the country, and then conference play?
Right, for sure. Yeah, so I mean, just with these exhibition games and stuff, you got Central Methodist and you got Benedictine who were here on the Heart. I think honestly on the men's side and the women's side, you got some really solid teams in the Heart. I used to play for the Heart my first year here. It was a very tough conference, and then also looking at the KCAC, you also have a very tough conference on that side. Talking with Coach Sloan for the preseason interview, he had said that nobody in the KCAC had really lost anybody. So, it was going to be another tough year for the men. For the women on that side, KCAC, most of those teams, they had lost some girls, and so that will be really interesting to see as the season goes on for the women's side. But for the men's side, talking to Coach Sloan, he had said that all of the teams on the men's side still have everybody, if not better people. So it'll be quite interesting to kind of see how they transition into that KCAC play. Now, coming up for Benedictine, they are number 18 in the country. It's a very solid team. They've always been a solid team ever since I've been up here, and so it'll be quite interesting to see. I think, honestly, if they can just really execute and just really focus on that defensive mindset and stopping the paint, getting turnovers, over and over. And I think, honestly, their best is going to be the transition. It's going to be getting those fast layups, getting people set up in the corner for threes, and just kind of moving in their offense. They have a very, very solid offense. And so I think, honestly, if they can just get that moving, keep it moving, get those drives and then those kickouts to threes, I think, honestly, they'll be really set. And then also communicating. I think tonight their biggest thing that they lacked was communication. So I think, honestly, if they could just focus on a few of those things, I think they'll be set.
Well, that's a great observation. And again, that's something that up here as we're watching the game we don't always see, but obviously, you being down there and, again, you actually, playing college basketball.
Right.
You kind of notice those things. I do want to, since we've got this opportunity here, we have been focusing obviously a lot because our broadcasts have been on the men's basketball team, but just kind of, I know that you've, been able to see kind of the women's basketball team and what a great job Coach Murillo has done with the basketball team. What are some things that we get to look forward to as the season moves along? Because I think everybody's got that November 20th home date circled as saying, all right, now both teams back in action.
Exactly.
KCAC, here we come. What are some things that you've seen out of them early on?
Yeah, I think the women's team, I think they have a really good chance this year. I honestly see a lot of potential in this team. I think a lot of them are young, but then you also have a lot of transfers. And with that, you got a couple of girls using their fifth year, which is outstanding that they decided to come play for Torrey. I think, honestly, they have a really great momentum going into the rest of their exhibition games and then coming back on their home court. I think, honestly, we're going to see some really exciting things for them. You got Ainsley Tomlin, you got Tiffany Davenport, you got Tatiana McCree, and they are just some big numbers. And then, obviously, you got Maddie Morgan coming back. Everybody knows Maddie. And I think, honestly, their energy is a lot different. You can really tell they've really turned a corner, especially from last year. Last year was just such a hard year, not only for us, but for every team in the conference. So I think, honestly, it's going to be a really interesting turnaround. I think it's going to kind of bring some energy back to the Maybe Fieldhouse. I think it's going to bring a lot of energy back to the basketball organization in general. And so it'll be really exciting to kind of see how they've, worked and equipped everything to make it back on top. And so I think it'll be really good. They just had the Baker tournament, and so they did a really great job. They beat Baker and they beat Benedictine, both top-ranked teams in the heart, and so that's honestly a huge accomplishment just in its own. So that kind of leads me to thinking that it's going to be a really good year, especially when we get back into conference play. Well,
and you mentioned that. What was kind of funny about that too is heard the stat, Maddie Morgan scores 4 points and Avila completely blows. I can't remember who the opponent was at the time, but they blew him out of the water. And you're
Benedictine,
like, oh, yeah, this is set up for a
exactly.
fun set. And, speaking of fun, we got Coach Sloan getting ready to join us. So I'm going to give up the mic, and Brittany, I'm going to hand it off to you and let you talk with the head coach of the men's basketball team here at Avila, Coach Sloan.
Coach Sloan, how are you doing tonight?
Well, I've been better.
Yeah. So I just kind of want to go through a little bit of that first half. I think the guys, y'all really started off really strong in that first half. I think y'all were playing y'all's type of tempo. It was a little bit of a fast-paced game tonight, but honestly, I feel like looking at the past experiences, y'all play at a really good fast pace. Y'all can play kind of at a slow pace. Y'all can play at a faster pace. But kind of, will you walk us through a little bit of what was going on in that first half?
Well, like you said, we started well. We were guarding really well at first. Here's kind of, in my opinion, what occurred. Central Methodist, the first two games, were against teams that were not their caliber teams. They beat them by 50 or 60 points. And so this was the first night they really got guarded, like at our level. And our kids did a really good job early. The issue was we couldn't finish on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
We missed, easy shots at the basket and open threes, and if we had finished like we normally do, the lead would have been, quite a bit more than 7 or 8 or 9 or whatever it got up to.
Right.
But once they figured out how they had to play, because they're really, my opinion. I told their coach, I said, including Pitt State, they're the best team we've played this year by far, and they're athletic, they're big, and they're hard to match up with, so once that happened, they kind of punched us in the mouth, and we didn't respond real well to that. So came out in the second half and played a little better right out the gate, and then it went away again.
Right.
So there's going to be games like that at times, and tonight was one of those.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of just one of those learning lessons. What was something, you said that you came out in that second half and y'all just really were doing great. You were causing turnovers. You were causing multiple things on their offense side, and y'all's defense was just looking as a unit. What was some things that was said during that in the halftime?
Well, we just discussed some of the things that we weren't doing well in the first half, and we came out with a little more intensity than we had played the last 10 minutes of the first half. And like I said, we sustained it for a while, and then it I think, what did we get it down to, 3?
Yep.
And then they hit it. We made a mistake and turned it over, and they hit a 3.
Right.
And then we turned it over again, and then they got a and one at the basket. So you can't do those things and beat a good team.
Right.
And hopefully we'll learn from this and improve, from here.
Right. What are some key things you can kind of take away this game to carry on for the next game?
I know a lot of things not to do.
Yep.
I don't know. I think we found some kids that we probably haven't been playing enough. That's going to play more, and I think that'll help us some. I was just disappointed that we didn't respond well when they made their run. We didn't. I was just really disappointed in that. And
right.
You hear coaches talk about toughness all the time, and that that was kind of the issue. Tonight they were the tougher team, and going forward we have to change that. We have to get tougher, which tougher means you execute, you do your job, you block out, you knock down a shot when you need to knock it down, you make your free throws, those kind of things. That's what toughness is. It's not
right.
talking or running your mouth or any of those things. But we got to get better at that.
Right. Well, Coach, I think honestly, in my opinion, playing here and kind of knowing the game of basketball, I think honestly, in my opinion, if y'all can just focus a little bit on execution and fixing a little bit of those things, the turnout would be completely different. So there's great potential in this team. You can take a lot from this game as a learning lesson and kind of contribute that onto the next game and then, the upcoming season. So, Coach, we wish you the best of luck this season. You got a couple more games coming up, and so we'll be really excited to kind of see how the transition changes and how things kind of equate back into a better groove of how y'all's team actually plays.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier. We got Benedictine on the road on Thursday, and they're always top of the Heart of America, and
right.
and then conference starts, so
right.
On the road. So. It doesn't get any easier.
Right.
We just have to work at it and get a little tougher and get some things ironed out. They'll be okay. They'll be all right.
We'll be really excited. We're always rooting for you, and so we'll be really excited to, kind of watch how the rest of the season plays out, watch how the next couple games play out. I think Benedictine will be a really great opportunity for you guys, ranked number 18th in the country right now, so I think that will be a really great opportunity to kind of see where that toughness lies for your team.
I agree.
Well, Coach, thank you so much. Great game tonight, even though the outcome was not what we wanted, but we will hope for the best next time and kind of see where those improvements come along.
All right, thanks. I appreciate you doing
Thank you. Well, folks, all of us from here at Avila, we just want to thank you so much for tuning in here at avilaathletics.com as we, are finally into the basketball season this year. So it'll be really exciting to kind of see both of our teams have a couple more exhibition games coming along with Benedictine. And then we are set for November 20th. We got a 6 o'clock start for the women's and 8 o'clock start for the men's. So we will be really excited, and we'll see you right back here with AvilaAthletics.com. Thank you. Have a good night.